And what is up, guys? Technicals here, back for another farm tour video. Did one of these a few months ago, but we've made some changes. And for anyone new to the channel, welcome. This is my farm. I'm an at-home miner, residential miner. Previously had a mine in a warehouse that was a bit larger, but now I'm doing it at home. So this is a quick walkthrough and a quick look at what I got. This is my detached garage. Just had this built last year. It's on its own 200 amp service coming in through there, completely separate from my house. I've got hardline Ethernet or internet coming underneath and into there, and all the mining takes place in there. So we're all here on the outside. It's about 1,200 square feet, and I've got a little mining shed within a shed inside of there. So let's take a look and see what I got. So starting here on the outside, I've got this little lean-to thing. I built this. Check out the video here where I go through how I built this. And this is to protect the intake fans. I've got 3 AC Infinity intake fans to pull in fresh air, and you'll see how it's built out from there. But if you notice, I've got this screening all in place, and this is kind of a stage 1 filtration. So this is catching some of this bigger stuff, keeps bugs out mostly. I mean, there's still obviously gaps, but it's, you know, every little bit helps. This is also where we're going to change out the filters. So if we go inside of here, you can see I've got screening between all the slats. Nice little spider web in there. Fake hornet nest, I sell those on my Etsy. They do a great job of keeping real hornets and wasps from building their nests in places. That's version 1. I've got a better one in there. But here are the fans. So I've got 3 of these, and the filters are changed out here on the outside. Running electrostatic, reusable, washable filters. So that helps reduce cost. Now they don't filter as good as the disposables, but the disposable filters, you know, they really suck up a lot of junk, and the cost to replace those is significant. And to be honest, you know, it kind of struggles to pull air through regardless, and you'll see that. So I use the reusable ones, but otherwise, this works great for keeping the rain out, keeps this nice and dry, so nothing gets sucked in. So let's head inside and take a look at the shed. All right, so here in my garage, this is the mining shed within a shed. This is the garage itself. It's all open, uninsulated, and you can check out my build series here where I went through kind of cataloged the build out of this little shed within a shed. It's like a closet, you know, just this tiny little room in the corner, but it was sort of purpose built for mining. The room is roughly 8 by 8 door. It's got its own lighting in there, but the idea is that the room is completely sealed, and that's to keep air from getting back into there once it's been exhausted out of the room. I try to isolate a cold lane and a hot lane. Now this is a silencer. I have a video right here on building the silencer. It is modular, so I can just slide it in and out of place, and it silences the ASICs. I have the ASICs off right now just so I can have a little better audio quality. But during the winter, I can just move this out. Well, I can just leave it in place all the time to keep the ASICs quiet, but when it's cold, they're not nearly as loud. And you can see I have this polyurethane foam and just regular Amazon foam here, and it takes the noise levels down drastically. And that's great in the summertime because as it gets warmer, the ASICs go faster and they get louder, and this really beats that down. This is the exhaust port, and so I left this open, this picture window, as sort of a modular solution. So that way, if I have new devices come in or I want to change stuff around, these are just foam boards that I covered in black tape just for the aesthetic. And that way I could kind of switch things out without committing to a rigid structure or cutting out wood or anything like that. I've got these 3D printed shrouds attached to all the ASICs. I've got this 3D printed Octominer shroud. And that kind of, again, now there are gaps, but it keeps the majority of air from getting back in and recirculating, because that's kind of like the death spiral. When things get hot, it starts pulling in the hotter air, and it gets around and around and around and around and just keeps hotter and hotter. And so you might be saying, if the hot air gets trapped in this building, won't it get to like 1,000,000 degrees in here? So in the winter, I want that because I want my shop to be nice and warm. But in the summer, I have these 2 5,000 CFM fans up in the very tippity top of the building, and they do an incredible job of exhausting the heat. And the idea being is that I let it out into here, the hottest air will rise, it'll get progressively hotter, so those fans are always sucking out the hottest air. Cooler, slightly cooler, less hotter air goes up to replace it. And I know this is working because this fan, this 100-inch shop fan, I had this running to dry out some wood, and it became like 1,000,000,000 degrees in here. So I'm pretty sure that my thinking, my thermodynamic thinking theory is actually working. All right, so let's take a look inside. And some changes to the farm. This is a air return grill I popped into the door. I'm gonna put another one down here, and that's because the ASICs are so hot, they're actually pulling a vacuum inside the room, and I really don't want that because I've been having to leave this door cracked to allow air to get in. I wanted to kind of take that edge off, and so I put this in place, but it's still kind of pulling it back, and so I'm gonna put another one down in here. Well, inside we have our supply cart, rolls around, danger dolly we call it here, and these are the 3 AC Infinity fans. So I have second stage filtration in place. I don't have the 2 filters on here. Again, these are the electrostatic filters. I wanted some more airflow, so I took these 2 off, but these 3 all connected to their to the 120 volt circuit. I've got them on the controller, although I don't really use it. I just keep these on full blast at all times. And these are built into a little double wall to allow space for the filter and the fan itself, which I just inverted, changed it around. That way the louvers, which are typically on here, would be on this side. I just took them off because I didn't want the added resistance of the louvers kind of fighting against the fan. As far as circuits go, that's my panel over there, and all the electricity runs through. And inside the shed, if you saw my rules video here, you'll know that I am limited to 100 amps, and that's just a self-imposed rule that I have just to keep things from getting unwieldy and wild and out of control. I have one 50 amp circuit, 3 30 amps, and a 20 down there for support stuff. Now that's more than 100 amps, but I mean 100 amps in service, in use. So I just keep track of everything, just monitor it and add it up. I'm still well under my limit, but these are the outlets I currently have. A lot of people asking about the 50 amp PDU. I just got it on Amazon. It works fine. It's the same brand as these 30 amp PDUs, or at least a couple of them. So it's working fine, but although the plug does get a little hot for my liking, especially now in the summer, so I'm keeping that one limited to around 50% and not taking it all the way up to the 80%. Got a little 20 amp outlet here that I ran in to power the fans and power a power strip. So things that have to run on 120, like that fan, other kind of stuff just here as an added convenience. So what have I got mining? I've got 3 CPU rigs currently. I had 5 before, but I've repurposed a couple off into AI salad rigs, things like that, but still got these 3 here, 5900X, 7950X3D times 2. As far as GPUs go, I always said that I would only ever have 1 GPU rig, and that's what I'm doing. So right now, I've got 5 4070s in here. I took one out to go put into an AI rig, but this is the GPU rig. No frills, it's a knockoff Octaminer case I got on eBay. I know it was knockoff because it didn't say Octaminer, so I put my own little badge on here. But yeah, there's nothing special to it. You've seen Octaminer GPU rigs before. 3D printed shroud, again, to help keep that air isolated, that hot exhaust air. And so for the main bread and butter, 2 S19J Pros. I've got them on Brains, tuned to 2700 watts, and that gives me about 100 terahash, right where they're supposed to be with less power usage. S21, recently put it on Brains as well, although you're not seeing the same efficiency improvement that I did on the S19J Pros. This one pulling 3500 watts, getting 200 terahash, and that's what it's supposed to be, but when you get it, it's usually, most people I think were getting them at like 3700 watts or something, so now it's running at that 3500 times 200. KSO Pro, overclocked. Did all the heat sinks. Check out the video here. Getting about 360 gigahash, so almost the hash rate of a KSO Ultra, but 200 watts though. So this is the upgraded power supply. Again, check my video if you're interested in that. And our newest addition, a K7. Now, maybe someone would ask, Matt, why on earth would you get a K7? It's the 63.5 gigahash model. Mine's Eagle Song, Nervous, CKB. You know, why would I get that? Well, I'm playing some kind of like strategy game here with ASICs. I'm gonna do another video on it, but that is the newest edition, and I do have another ASIC coming that's in the same vein as this one, sort of a strategy play, so to speak. Will it pay off? I don't know, but you'll have to pay attention to the channel to really figure it out. And our real money maker down here, the Evergreen miner, thanks Evergreen, mining Chia, makes virtually nothing, but it also uses virtually no power, so might as well throw it in here as part of the stables. Drop ceiling, it's got its own light, it's all drywalled in here, and again, it's designed to really keep that cold air isolated to where that gets pulled into the miners and exhausted out, and it doesn't get back in. So that's my mining shed within a shed. Maybe we'll come back and review in another month, 2 months, 3 months, or as other upgrades take place. And yeah, it works out great. It's way better than having it in the house. The noise can be, sort of isolated and kept in place. The silencer works great. No heat issues, and the 200 amp service that's dedicated. That's going to be not in use anyway, so I might as well use it. I have cheap power, about 7.5 cents right now. I mean, it could go up, who knows? But yeah, works great. If you'd like to see, again, any of the process of building out the shed or how I started, from just a little rolling rack that was sitting right over there, and then 6 months later I got this little broom closet, check the other videos in the channel, mining infrastructure videos, for more on that. So if you like videos like this, even though you've seen the farm before, press like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I'm TheTechnicals. See you next time.